I've never really done any videos at night, but I'm filled with a sudden burst of motivation, I guess. So I'm gonna be heading to the gas station, get myself a drink, and then I'm gonna film a video. And I gotta get something else for the wife as well. It is so much nicer shooting in low light with this camera versus with my phone in the past, or with the previous camera with the broken lens. Because shooting in low light with that was, what's the word? Impossible, right. Even if you're vaccinated, make sure you're maskinated. Because, well, it's much better to be safe than sorry, and if your state's like mine right now, this is the law. Oh no. Oh no. They don't have the required item. Well, on to the next stop. Well, round two. Wait. Good news. Wow, that's bright. That trip was a success. You guys should know, if your girl asks you to grab something at the gas station, it doesn't matter if you gotta make 2 trips. Get it, especially when the trip is literally across the street from each other.
Kaden! Hi, good buddy. Hello. Hey, don't pull my dead cat or you're gonna be a dead cat.
A dead cat is basically a form of a microphone, like windshield deadening agent. I don't know, who cares? So this is my 2008 Subaru Impreza WRX, and there's not really a lot done to it, but everything that is done to it is pretty subtle. It has 2013 WRX struts with 2013 STI springs, so it has a really subtle drop. It has a 2011 to 2014 STI exhaust. Well, kind of. It's for a 2011 to 2014 STI. It's a MagnaFlow catback with a Cobb catted downpipe, so it's basically a full turboback exhaust. It is currently on its stock tune, but I plan to remedy that in the future. It's also on its stock wheels, which I also plan to remedy in the future. I was hoping to have remedied that already, but monies. It's also dirty, which I plan on remedying sooner than those 2 things. Oh, and I forgot to mention, it also has a torque solution short throw shifter, which is amazing. So I would say that these are all good examples of mods that are not exactly expensive, but have had a pretty good effect on the car overall and are worth the price that I've paid despite being budget parts. However, you can very easily go to the other end of the spectrum, which I will go ahead and show you now. Welcome to my garage. It's not particularly exciting, but it definitely is full of mowers. So that's something. I have a few parts in here that are currently not on the car that were for the WRX, and some of them are pretty good quality, some of them not so much. But let's go ahead and discuss the specifics of them. But first off, you know we gotta do it. That didn't pop very well for some reason. Not a sponsor, but it should be. I used to say that all the time for Rockstar. They never got back to me, which is pretty unbelievable for a channel that had like 200 subscribers that they didn't want to sponsor me. It's weird, honestly. No gas station even stocks that flavor of Rockstar pretty much at all anymore, which is really disappointing. That was my favorite one. If you guys ever find the Rockstar Boom Whip Strawberry, very different from any other energy drink, I would recommend trying it out. This is not the point of the video. Original Red Bull is also very good. But back to the point of the video, this is a coilover that you most likely recognize if you're familiar with different coilover brands by the colors alone. That's right, this is a Raceland Ultimo coilover. And albeit it's not terrible, but it's not great either. For most applications, these run right around $500, which I'll admit is very cheap for the overall quality and feature set that these coilovers offer. These were actually on the car when I bought it, and I ended up taking them off and replacing them for the STI springs on the WRX struts that I mentioned out there a minute ago. So why exactly? Well, let's go ahead and get into it. These coilovers, judging by the overall condition of them, were probably not on the car for more than a couple years. And you would expect a little bit of wear and tear over a couple years of driving, and there definitely is. On any spots where any rock chips or something got to the spring, you can see that there is rust starting, but that's of course only on the surface. It's not dangerous by any means, it just doesn't look particularly pretty. None of that's very surprising for pretty much any coilover. However, one thing that's not so spectacular is all of these collars are also completely seized in place, which is one of the big reasons why I ended up replacing these. I was going to be adjusting the preload for the rear of the car, trying to clear the tires a little bit better, and I was going to be adjusting the overall ride height of the car, and I was literally unable to do that because these collars are seized in place. But on top of that, being only most likely a couple years old, which granted there's no way that I can confirm that, it's all just based on my suspicion, the damper itself in all four of these coilovers is pretty much completely blown. A lot of you guys will be familiar with that clunky sound from you going over a bump from a blown strut. Well, that was happening on all four corners of my car because of these. And it's pretty clear in the way that they felt versus the springs that are on the car now. I believe they are a much softer spring on the car now, but still these felt just kind of squishy and weird, and that's all basically attributed to the fact that the damper is most likely blown in all of these. Now, that's okay. Struts are a wear item. They're going to, over time, wear out and eventually they will blow. That's not very surprising. That happens on all sorts of different cars. However, the question you have to ask yourself is, how much quicker is that going to happen on a coilover of this price versus saving your money and getting a slightly more expensive coilover? Now, I don't want to bash Raceland too much because the truth of the matter is Raceland is a pretty great company. They offer a lot of products that are very good value considering what they are. They're overall well built, and they have a fantastic lifetime warranty, and they have amazing customer service. And no, I'm not affiliated with Raceland or anything, obviously. But even when I contacted them about potentially just replacing one or two of these struts, despite the fact that lifetime warranty did not transfer to me because I was not the original purchaser, they were very, very helpful, and that says a lot. I do have to hand that to them. However, for $500, you get this. For twice that, you can get something like a BC Racing BR coilover. Or for another $500 more than that, you can get something like a Fortunato 500. Or for another $500 to $700 more than that, you can get something like a Fortunato 510. Or for more than that, you can get things like, you know, KWs, Bilstein, whatever you choose. There's plenty of different options. Now take this with a grain of salt because this is only my opinion, but in my opinion, the upgrade from a $500 coilover like this to something like a $1,000 to $1,200 coilover or $1,300 coilover alone is well worth the price. Those are products that are most likely going to have a lot more research and development and are most likely going to have a lot more feature sets and overall more impressive build quality. That is not to say that something like this $500 coilover is not okay and won't work for your application, but do keep in mind that even though buying parts is fun, and a lot of times it's really easy to want to buy something cheaper so that we can afford to do more things, sometimes ultimately you're going to be happier with spending a little more money on one part and getting a much more impressive result from that part. Now, I'd like to throw in a little bit of my own personal experience or personal wisdom on this matter. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard the saying, buy cheap, buy twice. Well, Unfortunately, I've experienced that. Now, I've been pretty fortunate with getting fairly good car parts basically every time. However, another one of my huge passions is guitar. A lot of you guys don't know, but I am actually a musician. I play guitar, and I love doing guitar builds. These little things on the guitars are called frets. I'm sure a lot of you guys know that. Well, they all need to be level, and so you can level them by basically sanding with a beam along the edge. However, after doing that, they also need to be rounded back off because the act of doing that will flatten them out. Well, there's a thing called a fret crowning file that basically re-crowns or re-rounds those frets the way they're supposed to be. Well, I was looking to get into more of this kind of work, and I saw a fret crowning file that was $28. And I thought, that's a little expensive, and I found one that was $11. And instead of having a like diamond-like coating on the inside, it was a regular file coating, but I figured it would be fine. Well, I got the fret file, and I was not very impressed with it. Did it work? Yeah. Did it work great? Not really. But when it came down to the next neck that I was going to be doing a full re-leveling and crowning on it, I decided that I wanted to get a new fret file. I looked at that $28 fret file again, and I thought, that's a little expensive, so I got a $19 fret file. Was it a little bit better than the last file I got? Yeah, a little bit. Was it great? Not really. So when it got time for me to do the next guitar neck, I broke down and I got the $28 fret file. After using it for about 15 seconds, I discovered it was of much, much better quality and was almost entirely more useful than the last two fret files that I had been using. Now, I knew this was a stellar product from the very beginning, but I decided to cheap out. And here's the thing. If I would have just spent $28 from the beginning, all I would have spent was $28. But instead, I spent $11. Then I spent $19, so that's a total of $30. Then I spent $28. So what I actually did was spend $58 to get a $28 fret file. So consider at what point that's going to happen to you. You might get a set of $300 coilovers and they might be okay for a little while. But at what point are your coilovers going to blow, and then you're gonna spend another $300 or another $500 or another $600 on your coilovers? And at what point might those coilovers blow and you find yourself spending more money again? At that point, maybe you just should have spent the money in the beginning. Now, this video does not exist to tell you that you should always spend more money on your parts, because I don't think that's fair, and I really don't think that that's true. If anything, it's here to tell you that you should do your research no matter what with what parts you're buying. Try to find honest reviews from real owners, and if you can't find that sort of information, understand that you're gonna be taking a gamble, and it's very possible that what you're gonna end up with might not quite be what you're expecting. But also keep in mind, just because a part is cheap does not necessarily mean that it is not good. There are plenty of examples of incredibly cheap, either for what they are or just in general, parts that are very, very high quality and are very impressive. For instance, the wheels that I had on my 350Z, I got compliments on those wheels all the time. People asking me what they were, saying they were amazing, they liked them. Those wheels were only $800 for the set. I think they've gone up in price a little bit. It's probably closer to $1,000 or just over for a set now. But for $800 for the set, those wheels were absolutely fantastic. And I would have put those wheels up against any $2,000 set of wheels any day. Would they have been quite as light? Maybe not. Would they have had quite as nice of a finish? Maybe not. But were they only half as good? I really doubt it. Or consider Phytech's system of the intake manifold and engine management system for LS swaps. For $1,700, you're getting a full harness that will essentially get your car running no matter what vehicle it's in. Budget parts are out there and they're getting better all the time. But not every single one of them is quite there yet, so just be aware of that. Now, this video has gone on pretty long for me, basically to say something that you might already know. But sometimes it's good to keep in mind that there really are plenty of fantastic budget parts, and budget for one person might be completely different to another person. When I was looking to upgrade the brakes on my 350Z, I saw plenty of posts about budget brake kits that were about $3,000. Well, for me, that was nowhere near budget. I ended up spending about $1,000 and getting a fantastic big brake kit that I really don't think I could have been happier with. To me, that was budget. To another person, that might have been very expensive. But ultimately, the thing we need to keep in mind is modifying our cars is awesome, and one disclaimer I want to put out there is don't judge someone for the quality of parts they want to put on their car or for the price that their price cost. If someone wants to put $4,000 coilovers on their car, a $4,000 set of brakes, a $4,000 set of wheels with a $2,000 set of tires, let them. That's fantastic. If they can manage to do that, then more power to them. If someone wants to put a $300 set of coilovers on their car, a $400 set of wheels, a $200 set of tires, with stock brakes, good for them. At least they're having fun in modifying their car. So have fun out there modifying your cars, guys, and remember, whatever you want to do and whatever you can do is ultimately the right decision for you. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, I know I got a little bit rambly. I don't script these things, I just speak my mind. But I hope you enjoyed it nevertheless. If you did, make sure to leave it a like. It's very helpful for getting videos out there, making the algorithm happy. I know I'm sick of hearing about the algorithm too. And if you really enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel if you would like to see more and hit the notification bell so you can be notified about uploads only if you want to. And with that being said, I'm out of here. Thank you guys for watching. See you next time.